Okay. So sorry, phoenixes are rising. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, guys. We're talking about spiritual warfare, and my Wi-Fi cut out on me because it was not plugged in. So it's charging now, and here I am again. Thank you guys for holding out. Those of you who are coming back by. Thank you. So the topic is spiritual warfare. And I had thought about it because of something that a tarot reader was talking about. I think it's really amazing that suddenly now people are talking about gang stalking. But when it first started, probably about 5 years ago, nobody believed in gang stalking, and everybody called everybody else who was experiencing gang stalking crazy. Remember that, guys? Yeah. Everybody was crazy for being gang stalked. Why would somebody want to stalk you? Anyway, so now they're talking about narcissism too, and some of them aren't really qualified to do so. And, I do happen to like this particular reader. And, sorry, I'm doing this particular reader, but there's sometimes when, you don't tell people. So basically I went off on the spiritual warfare topic because you don't tell people how people with cluster B personalities work is that they're not attracted to your wounds per se. Your wounds are a bonus for them to exploit as a way of giving them the upper hand to bind you to them. So if they traumatize you, now they're added to the trauma bond that somebody else created for you, right? That's what they're thinking about. They're not thinking about, and I'll tell you guys one last time, because I just block people. Please don't come here to my live where we're talking about serious stuff. I don't mind laughing and teasing and all that kind of stuff. But if you're just here to be a prick, I'll block you. I'll block you. No hesitation. And I guess it's just, I'm just not in the mood for anything right now. Like, go grow up. Go do your work. Actually, go to my link and sign up for one of these programs. And I'll go through it with you. I do 30-minute sessions for $20 if you need something. Let me start saying that. Because most of you guys are not emotionally immature who are making these dumb comments. So, yeah. But anyway. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so that's not the reason why you're attracting the narcissist, because you can heal from the previous relationships. You can heal from the trauma bonds and other insecurities and things of that nature. But it doesn't mean that they're still not going to come around, especially if you start healing, because they're attracted to that, how you look in the spiritual realm to them. You look meaty, you look tasty, you look yum-yums. Because you got something that they can't have. My spiritual mom said, the darkness is attracted to the light and will not stop until it consumes it. Will not stop. Right? So I have stalkers. There's no insecurities that I have. I have nervousness when I go outside because I know I'm in a toxic environment and I know the pattern of the other toxic people. Right? So like I've said this before, and I'm just going to be regular about it. It's like, I'm tired of dealing with other people's retarded kids, because if you haven't shown me, I've had people come out just wanting me to pamper them or wanting me to give them a handout. I was on the streets for 3 years. I only took what I needed when I needed it. And I probably could have made a killing off of getting free sleeping bags and backpacks and resold them at the flea market. But that wasn't my priority. My priority was getting off the streets and figuring out why. Having God take me through why I was on there. Why did I put myself there? What was inside of me that made me feel like I was homeless and deserved to die on the streets alone by myself? So I had to go back, and that was my conditioning. Right. So I'm doing a 3-day workshop for $25 called Undoing Your Toxic Conditioning. So go in my profile and look at the other videos. And it's going to be Friday, February 10th, 3 p.m. I believe that's a Thursday. So it's Pacific Standard Time. If you guys want to get, a different time, let me know, because I might push it back. I'm not sure. But right now it is, and you can go to my profile, go to my, which will take you to my link tree, which is where all my programs and services are. And you can click on the one that says, programs, and you'll take you to my Square site. And I think it's the third one on the bottom, and you can just pay there. I mean, I think for 3 days learning, how to undo, your toxic conditioning, and, just Zoom call. All of us are there. I go take you guys through a program, give you guys some tools, give you guys some worksheets. And that's just a mini program, because I know that the 8-week course is kind of hard for people to do. Some people don't want to do an 8-week program. I already changed the name of it. That the name of the 8-week program was, the 4 steps to your or breaking free of cluster Bs, and the 4 steps to your authentic self. I think for 4 steps to your authentic self or breaking free of cluster. It was too long. So that one, the 8-week now was changed. The title is changed to, from sealed to healed. Right. So I thought about that, because I was asking, I said, God, what should I name it? Well, from sealed to healed. Right. So because our trauma seals us off from expressing who we authentically are. Right. So the whole 8 weeks is educating you, giving you wisdom and tools so that you can be on your path, living from your authentic self, right? And getting those tools to heal from what it is that's been holding you back and holding you down. Okay. So you can do that. So anyway, yeah, and just talking about warfare, because this person talks a lot about warfare, but again, now that all the tarot readers who have become the preachers of our day, tarot readers are talking about gang stalking and narcissism and all that stuff. And I don't really think that a lot of them, there's a few that, like I said, I listened to 2. This lady was one of them, but I listened, to another one, which I know that she knows what she's doing. And know that she knows what she's doing, but it's hard for me when people start talking about, okay, well, no, you keep attracting narcissists because you still haven't learned something. And maybe you still do need to learn something. But when you actually know, because you've dealt with narcissists and you've studied narcissists and you've gone through programs and research, and, you've gone, paid your tuition and all that. And so, you specialize in it. So when I hear people say that it's solely because you haven't learned something, I'm like, nope, I had to tell her. I really did tell her, like, no, that's not it. Please stop telling people that. Stop telling people that, because then you're gaslighting that person to keep them coming back to you. And I've heard even other narc coaches or therapists who will say that same thing, and that's not true. I mean, basically all you're saying is I don't know what the tactics are of cluster B personalities. That's what you're telling people. So, I mean, like a preacher says, oh, you're going through this because you don't have any faith. And it's like, well, no, you're going through it because you're listening to the preacher telling you it's because you don't have any faith, when it's really you need to disconnect from the people who are toxic and holding you down and abusing you. Right. So we got that kind of thing going on. So I was like, no, the narcissists and other cluster B personalities are attracted to you still because you still have that light inside of you, even though you're wounded. That's why they're attracted to you. And they want to make sure that you're wounded so you never leave them. Right? Because they're insecure. So they got to make whoever they're targeting feel like they're worthless without them, especially. Right? That's the way the shit goes. I mean, So that's what got me to the spiritual warfare, because if a lot of you guys have heard my story, heard me tell, what I've been through, what I'm still going through, that I'm still doing the gang stalking thing. The gang stalking has kind of subsided a little bit because now people are afraid since the new year. I've noticed that, like, they're really kind of trying to be friendly with me. Those who have hurt me, the only ones that are stubborn are the real deep, psychopathic, cluster Bs, and they're holding on because they want to, they're crazy. There comes a time in a cluster B's life where they meet that empath that's just as crazy as them, if not more, and is not going to put up with the shit. So, yeah. So I have people who are still, they use witchcraft because, as I explained in another video, again, if you guys want to watch these replays, go to my YouTube channel and you can watch them. And I also have a podcast where we're reading. So we're talking. I'm reading from a book talking about dealing, how to get out of these relationships, what these relationships with cluster B personalities, specifically for this book. This book is called The Wise Lesbian's Guide to Crazy Making Relationships and How to Get Free. Right. So it's right up my alley. And I came across this. Her name is Amber Alt, PhD. And I came to her book, and it was a godsend because I was like, wow, what did I just go through? This is I had lived with somebody for 2 months, and they were like, made no bones about grooming me and basically trying to process and package me, in a very sadistic way. And so she was in that book. She talks about borderline personalities, psychopaths and sociopaths, and, who are women and lesbians in that type of relationship. And so already there's 3 videos up. So if you know somebody who is LGBTQ and, would be interested in me reading that. And actually what I'm going to stop doing is when I read, I'm just going to read, and then they'll have my comments afterwards instead of interrupting during. And I may restart from the beginning and delete those other videos. But if you want to get them now, go and listen to a little bit and, comment and subscribe and ring the bell so you know that when I post, because I schedule mine ahead of time because I do work 40 hours and have fur babes and just, also working on a script treatment and all that stuff. So, doing what I'm doing. But I love you, Phoenixes, and I want to make sure that you know that I'm out here for you, and that I'm thinking about you, and that I'm still trying to put out material and videos that are somewhat, that you guys can relate to or that you need to hear. So if you guys know anybody who is lesbian or gay, and this is specifically for lesbian. It's the Wise Lesbian Guide for crazy making relationships with cluster B personalities. But I think anybody can benefit from it. There's a independent film called, oh God, what is it called? Shit. But it's an independent gay film dealing with, I think it's called Narcissist. But I know he's my friend on the TikTok, or not TikTok, but Instagram. So, get that. Go so basically subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also go to my link in my link tree in my profile and get on our mailing list. So that way you guys don't miss if I have deals, if I do interviews on my podcast, if that's coming up. So I want you guys to keep involved, keep in the know. And the best way to do that is to get you guys on a mailing list. Now, I know that a lot of people, because I do mailing lists, but because I forget and I get sidetracked because I am busy with my own stuff. But it's also people that like I'm taking courses from myself. So, a coach needs a coach, and I have coaches. So, but I am the type that's not going to be mailing you. I probably will do an email newsletter once a month, maybe twice, maybe. So it's not to spam you. It's really literally just because I like to prepare like Costco. I'm a Costco shopper. So I could probably, I'll work on mini courses, full course or whatever, but I'll probably work on these mini courses, get them out. And then if you guys are subscribed to the newsletter, you'll know when I'm launching them. Okay. So also let me know whether you guys want me to go through these mini courses with you. Like right now, we're going to do Zoom call mini courses. Okay. And again, the first one that I'm doing February 10th at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is called Undoing Toxic Conditioning. Okay. So it's going to be a 3-day mini course, maybe later, but I think on the 3rd day, we'll just be, I'll just be picking you guys' brain and seeing how you guys are feeling and whatnot. So, and that's $25 just for that course. And I think that's a great deal. So, also if you guys would like, one-on-one session coaching, with me, I have 30 minutes for $20, and then I have an hour for $90. So if you're interested in that, please go for it, and book a session with me when you feel like it. Okay. And so the one's called Get It Off Your Chest. But yeah, so just go to my link, and you got all my social media. If you guys like what I'm sharing, please let me know. I love feedback. The thing that's so motivating is when I hear people like either in the lives or when they're commenting on my YouTube videos, and they're like, gosh, I can totally relate to that. Thank you for posting this, and because I'll screen capture it, and I'll just be like, that lets me know, because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes, to kind of gauge, but I know that people, like, I'm a listener. Not all the time am I going to comment on a video. I'm a listener. So, all right. So anyway, yeah, the topic was warfare, spiritual warfare. So this person was telling people that, which is not entirely true. It's not the narcissist. The narcissist like you better when you're vulnerable, when you're insecure, when you're something that they can exploit. Me being homeless, that was easy to exploit. Me having anxiety and PTSD was easy to exploit. Right? Me being sheepish and afraid to stick up for myself because I was afraid of the retaliation that I experienced in so many times before, that was for them to exploit. But when you start getting stronger, when you start closing those gaps, when you start leveling up and they see you going, up and they're going down, then that's when they start using different tactics. Right? And so the thing of it is, lightness is, again, I'll say it again from what my spiritual mom told me, the light is attracted to the dark and is not going to stop until it consumes it, whether you're in your full power or whether you're being mediocre on purpose, because that's what this society likes, is mediocre bullshit. So thank you, Shelley. No, this isn't pre-recorded. What is up with the comments today? I don't get it. Okay, so anyway, thank you, Sam Stoneberger. Okay. Oh boy, yeah, I had to start this over because you said, Shelley, you said your mom is like that. Yeah, I had to start this over because my Wi-Fi cocked out. So, and I didn't get a nap before my shift. But that's, again, wanting to talk about warfare and the things the tools that I use, that I will eventually share deeper in more detail with you guys, that to combat warfare, because spiritual warfare, being with a narcissist, being a cluster B personality, to me is having a demon possession. Thank you for the likes. Love you. Thank you. Is a demon possession. From what I've experienced from these guys and from what I've had confirmed by, my studies and resources, is that these guys aren't playing with a full deck. Not only that, though, they've been taken over by something else, because it's not normal. People call it brain, something wrong with their brains, work differently. They had trauma when they were kids. But see, here's the thing. One of my stalkers, who's absolutely obsessed with me, We've gone through the same thing. We've gone through many of the same thing. Here's the difference. So, I mean, in another live, I already shared with you guys what I've been through, right? So I grew up in slavery, basically, beaten, starved, sexually assaulted, left, abandoned, right? Told that everything was my fault. Could never do anything right. If I would have been a normal kid, things would be different. I didn't spend, my birthday was a celebration for the kids, for my siblings to open my presents because I was always in trouble. It was a way for my psychopathic, narcissistic clusterfuck dad to basically humiliate me. He had to show that he was powerful over me. He did not like, as a dark-skinned black man, he did not like black women. And looking at me reminded him of the one that got away, the one that he couldn't bully. See, because I was the prize. I was the trophy that he took back from her, right? Now, little did he know that that was a divine thing that he did, that it saved me from having to go through what later I would find out would be her prostitution and drug dealing and being a mule and all this other kind of crazy shit, So everything worked out, but that's how I grew up. So that's why I decided in meditation, God was like, yeah, let's do this conditioning, undoing toxic conditioning, because I know that a lot of times people can't take it all in chunks in one big piece. You need to take it in chunks, right? You need to take it in chunks. You can't have the whole plate. You got to have the steak, the salad, potato salad, all that stuff. So, that's why I got it. So, yeah, and it's okay. I mean, thank you, Enchanted Creator. Yeah. It's horrible. I mean, like I have spent a lot of time in isolation and alone. So the Christmas and holidays were not, again, presents, they would be shared by the kids because I was always in trouble for doing anything. Like there was one time I got a poochie and, remember the white and pink with the pink ears? I got a poochie and I think I got a pound puppy. Right. That's what I felt like, was a pound puppy. Okay. So as I've been going through my healing and leveling up spiritually, things have been connecting. Right? Because a lot of times when you start healing from your past, and you got to go all the way back to the trauma bond, not so you can relive it, but so you can understand it. Because sometimes we got to see what it is that we actually went through. When we're going through it, many of us are on autopilot. We are just going with the motion. It's just whatever is, we're not even present. We're just there. Okay, I know that I got to react now. Right? I got to get my dad some ice water because if I don't, I'm going to get beaten. Okay? Like I knew that. So you're constantly in reptilian mode. You're not able to process. You're not able to really smell and take it in, like those stages, I think it was Paget or something who did those stages of learning. That's how we gain intelligence. It's like first we're sensory, everything smell, taste, and touch, and then we get 2 to 7, and then 7 to 11 we start to be able to put together what we smell, taste, and touch, and what we hear. So not everything is a dog just because it has 4 legs or fur. Some things are a cow, some things are a sheep. Some things are just somebody in an animal suit. So we start to process that. But see, with us, which is what I'm going to talk more in detail about in the Undoing Toxic Conditioning, February 3rd at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, $25 for a 3-day program workshop, is that ours is stunted. Once we don't get to go through that process, because when we grow up with toxic parents or toxic people who have power over us, who are abusing us, it stops. Our growth stops. And our brain has to switch into survival. And unfortunately we stay. So there's damage because we got to stay in that survival mode for long periods of time. We got to stay in that for long periods of time until we get out of that house. And then a lot of us forget, we're like, okay, well, this was useful then. I guess I'm going to try and use it then. So you're going into an environment where you have to use it, not where you need to use it. And I'll give you an example of my own personal life. I realized that even though I'd gotten out of this, right? I'd gotten out of that traumatic thing, and I was still kind of like, okay, well, what's wrong with me? Because they were always telling me something was wrong with me. I had family members looking at me like, well, what's wrong with you? There's something wrong with you. Just look at me like there's just something wrong with you. I can't put my finger on it, but I don't know. But, it's not bad, but, I don't know. There's something wrong with you. My dad saying, hey, if you would have been a normal child, right? So when I was getting into these healthy relationships, then we get culture, right? So not only was it what I grew up in, then when I got out and I got into foster care, so I got out. And then I'm learning what it means to be Black in my case. And it's like, okay, well, we don't go camping. We don't go fishing. We don't go to these places because those are white events. And that's, we don't go skiing. We don't go snowboarding. All the stuff that I wanted to do. Right? So, but I'm being told in order to be Black, I can't go and do that stuff. Right? But what God had in store for me, thank you for the rose, Marcia Smith. Thank you so much, Fluffy Bunnies. What God had in store for me was not that type of ghetto life, right? Was not that type of poverty life, was not that type of, you know what I mean? Like I was always introduced when I look back in hindsight, which is the benefit of going through and looking back just to see where you've come from, to explore. And so you can unpack when you recognize that this is a conditioning that I need to let go of now because I'm not in that situation. So because I wasn't in my traumatized home and God had put me in where it was considered white, I shunned it and went where I had to use my toxic survival tools. So I was perpetuating what I had grown up in, right? It doesn't mean that I wasn't experiencing racism, from what was considered white or whatever, because other people didn't want me there. But the people who were inviting me wanted me there authentically, genuinely. But I couldn't see it because I was afraid, because I was being conditioned that this is what, if you don't act like this, then you're not Black. And for us not to accept you as Black boy is big trouble, right? Boy, I was so happy when I gave my ghetto pass or my Black pass, whatever. You can have all that shit because I'm a spiritual being. People say, oh, you don't like your own people. No, my people are spiritual people. I don't care what color you are. I'm looking at your spirit. Because I can tell you right now, today, because some people are the poster children for every racist stereotype that we have, that our ancestors and even some of us have fight to conquer. That I don't want to be. I'm going by your spirit. You will know them by their fruit. What do you have inside of you that is producing this toxic shit right here? That you would dare tell somebody that all of a sudden their pigmentation disappears because you're not eating food, you're not using food stamps, or you're not talking this, or you're not talking that way, or you're not doing this, that you want to go snowboarding. And somehow that's been classified as a white thing to do. Race car driving was a white thing to do. But somebody broke that color line, right? Rock and roll was said to have been a white thing, but that we found out now that was by somebody who lived way before Elvis. So these are things that the conditioning sometimes can hurt us. I go by what needs. I speak on the level of my audience, on the level of who I'm talking to, right? And I would prefer to speak at a higher vibration. But unfortunately, some people don't want you to speak that way. They get offended. I remember being told that I was talking white because I read books, because I loved books. Not only did I read Roots, but I read Frankenstein. Not only did I read Malcolm X autobiography, but I read Tolstoy. You know what I'm saying? I read the classics with the classics. And I was talking white. This is what we got to get rid of. This is the conditioning, right? Because if you're still thinking that way, then you're living, but you desire to do something that is out of bounds, out of the box, and your spirit keeps, every time you see it or something reminds you that, oh gosh, I wish I could do this now, or I want to do this and I got the material for it, but everybody's telling me that I'm not the right one for it, or that I shouldn't be doing it because of such and such and such. Tune those people out. They don't matter. Because none of those people, when I became homeless, were there for me. In fact, they were making fun of me. And many of them wanted to see me as a sex object. That's what I mean. There are people in your own home, in your own race, in your own country that will try and bring you down because they don't want to see you go outside of their box. Because it's about power and control. It's about controlling you. Period. And the devil will use race, sexual orientation, gender, socioeconomic status, whether you're vaccinated or not now. You know what I'm saying? They will use whatever it is. I just got through saying in the previous live, anything that makes you feel insecure. When you stop worrying, see, I had to get to the point that for me, come hell or high water. You know, and especially now since, like, you know, spiritual warfare, when they can't get you by your insecurities, when they can't get you by your trauma and open that wound and exploit it, when they can't get you with that, right? When they can't get you with, you know, a pre-existing condition, they can't get you with your weight. They can't get you with the color of your skin, right? They can't get you anymore. The thing about people with cluster B personalities, these character disorders, is that they obsess. Covert narcissists, very few people, they will throw tantrums. But the whole thing is to go undetected. So I had this lady that I lived with who told me, yeah, okay, yeah, that's good. You're doing good. Yeah, I'm so glad, you know, that you got a job. You're so lucky. And she was like, I'm so jealous. Oh, you're losing weight? I'm so jealous, right? I'm so jealous because you're losing weight. You're toning up because you're exercising and because you got a job now and you got another job. She was in competition with me. But when you saw the look on her face, you wouldn't really see, I mean, she didn't look happy or grateful about me or anything. She was really actually not a pleasant person to look at all. But if you were to look at her, you wouldn't think that she was plotting to have me ran over with a few of her coven members, her gang member friends, her Santa Muerte worshipers. Right? You wouldn't think that because she kept it hidden. She was really good at keeping, and most covert narcissists, sociopsychopaths are good at keeping their intentions down. But this is where your gifts come in. And this is where working on healing your trauma bonds, working on undoing conditioning and anything else that is hindering you comes into play. Because when that is lifted, you can get the passage from the sunlight as a spirit to you is more clear. So you can recognize and understand, then you start getting to learn about who you really are, not based on what somebody else told you were. You know how many times when I came out as a lesbian, people were trying to make me out to be bisexual because it was more palatable for them. They could work with that because that meant that, especially for guys, especially for black men, that they had a chance. You know? People will try and barter with you, make you compromise your integrity, your spirituality, who you are. Go watch Devil's Advocate. You know, go watch Devil's Advocate. That says a lot right there. So you have to be strong within yourself. You have to be strong within yourself. And the way that you get that way is by doing the healing work, by going deep, right? If let's say you were on your healing journey like I was and you stopped, you dropped off, you're like, man, this is too much. This is too deep. I don't understand it, right? And you want to get back on the path. Because that's what I had to do. It doesn't take for something, you know, for the Most High to have to break you. Like, I was so stuck and stagnant that I was suicidal, right? I was so stuck and stagnant that I didn't move, right? Because I didn't know I'd been gang stalked for about 2 years by this time. Simple thing of just saying, hey, no, don't do this, or I'm not interested, right? Somebody's sexual advances or whatever, and they're freaking the fuck out because, okay, she doesn't want to spend time with us. Hold on. Little did I know that the actual thing was because of the city that I live in, and it is controlled by gang members, specifically Hispanic gangs, Mexican gangs, was that they were trying to get me to assimilate into their organization. And that wasn't I was moving. I had moved from one location, toxic location, where child sex trafficking. There was a murder at least once a week. It was just trains blasting and at that, you know what I mean? So it's like I had to go. So anyway, when we work on ourselves, right? And we get to know, then we get to that point where, okay, now I get to see who I am without everybody else's conditions that I've been carrying with me. See, other people built our foundation, Phoenixes. Other people built our foundation. And many of them were toxic. So we got to go back in and say, okay, so why is this happening now? What is this? Why do I feel this way still? What is holding me back? Like, I had to ask, why did I make myself homeless? What inside of me? Because like I said, I was already empty and suicidal. Already, and God gave me a puppy, literally. So that helped to pacify me for a bit, because I was like, God, because I felt like I couldn't move. Why? Right? Because I was conditioned that my wanting to be a filmmaker as a Black female was not going to be supported unless I carried a white or Jewish man. That's literally what I was shown in the courses that I took online through the art of San Francisco. And, so was shown that. I had a great big argument, made them pay me for a semester back because it was just bullshit. Not only were they were just stealing money from people and making up these fucked up courses, but, they were also implementing that the race and gender and all that stuff. You mean all these Black filmmakers and script writers? I didn't realize that there were so many until like 3 years ago, and continuing. Because I got Wi-Fi, weirdly enough, got Wi-Fi on the street. So I was able to watch Scandal, Shonda Rhimes, prolific, because she started out in television, and here's, doing behind the scenes now. She's writing. Had no idea. I would love to write like her, but I can only write like me, right? I can only do the script writing like me. That's it. You can learn anything, but you know what I'm saying? These people were conditioning others that you're no good. Your work isn't valid unless you look like this, unless your gender is this. Right? So, fortunately they had to pay me because I was demanding it, and they didn't know. I was hot. I was so mad. Right? So that's what's doing that unconditioning. So what makes me afraid, of going on the freeway? What trauma happened to where I don't want to go on the freeway? Right? Or where were we going to that makes me scared still to this day, even though I'm an adult, or it's been, 5-10 years or whatever. Why am I still holding on to it? And how do I release it and let go? Right? Again, February 10th, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, undoing toxic conditioning. But that's what I had to do. I had to go in and ask God, why am I here? Why did I put myself here? And that was because I had already wanted to die. I was done. And God had to wake me up from my slumber. Like literally, that's so you don't have to be homeless. You don't have to have something traumatic happen to you before you take that plunge and say, okay, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to go find other people who are doing what I'm doing. And so I can have a support system, and so that I can gain, tools and build relationships, right? Like why the thing is like, why am I afraid to have relationships? Right? For me, it was, okay, I've come from a very traumatic past. Like, what is there to talk about? And because I stopped dating in my 20s because I was like, okay, nobody wants to talk about anything. They were they were so it's a control tactic. Yeah, Fluffy Bunny. Yep, a control tactic, and it is horrible. Thank you, Big Show, Nuri. Let me see, I mute him too. Pardon me. So anyway, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but so I had to ask, it's like, okay, what inside of me, what conditions did I have about making money? Right? Like I still have conditionings around making money. And my biggest fear is because I remember getting a lump sum of money that I earned. I got a lump sum of money, and people came out of, like big corporations, like, telemarketers and all this shit came out of the woodworks. I'm like, who notified these people that I got money? And there's like, oh, remember when you owed this, and remember when you owed that, and we got this for sale and stuff like that. And it was overwhelming for me. Right. So, but what is, you know what I mean? So now it's like, okay, no, I deserve it. So it's renewing my mind. So when you undo conditioning, then you got to replace it with something new, with a new experience. So as you're going and doing something new, right? So let's say I go ahead and I do my own, I finance my own low budget indie film, right? I do a short or a feature, whatever. I just go out and do it, right? So I go and I edit it, and it's all good, and we submit it to the Sundance or whatever, and we get seen or chosen or whatever, however it works out, because I don't know how it works. I've never been to it. I've proven it wrong, right? I've proven them wrong, that people aren't going to be receptive to the stories that I have to share, right? So, because a lot of times we don't do anything because we've been conditioned. If you're a targeted individual, if you've been gang stalked, if you're still going through it, people stalking you, harassing you or whatever, they're conditioning you to not go in certain areas, to not say certain things, right? Like that's what all this cancel culture is, like what they're trying to do with Whoopi, calling her an anti-Semite. This has come up a lot lately, and it's getting really annoying, this anti-Semitism crap, because it's not, because I could understand it if it was, but what I'm hearing, it's not. It's not. And then, the ADL, that's gaslighting, it's slandering, and it's trying to cancel and traumatize somebody, right? And that's what people with narcissism do. And there are narcissistic cultures, there are narcissistic races. You can look that up in Wikipedia. There's a list of them. I think I added it to my PDF collection, just so people can say, oh no, you're being racist. Here it goes right here. Here's Wikipedia. These are the people, these are the countries that are considered narcissistic, as a whole. That's how they work, I mean, and people are getting afraid of the truth, I am not afraid to tell the truth anymore. Right? Sometimes we lose our power and our passion because we can't speak our minds, because we always have gatekeepers, silent gatekeepers, covert gatekeepers, right? And flying monkeys are what? The narcissist's pet. Okay. So imagine being online, again, using the Whoopi example. Everybody wants to cancel her. How can you cancel a woman? Do you understand? That's another word for kill. That's another word for kill. So you're wanting to kill somebody for for quoting literally the ADL, which is a Zionist organization. I mean, you know what I mean? And they've been in trouble before, but nobody questions them for spying and slandering and gang stalking and harassing and traumatizing people. I mean, you look into the history of the ADL. I studied that 20 years ago, but I mean, not to get off on that, but I mean, and again, when you are dealing with narcissists and narcissistic cultures, they will have many skeletons in their closet, but they don't want you to focus on that. Don't focus on the skeletons in my closet. Don't focus on the organ harvesting especially of African countries. Don't focus on the fact that we're holding Ethiopians and Libyans as slaves and calling them dogs and marching and having, people in Israel talk about, oh, get out of here, nigger, and stuff like that, because I've seen the video. Anybody can see the video. So gaslighting is what? Telling the public that what we see and what we read is not real. And as a matter of fact, we're going to change our term. We're going to change our definitions. So when you get out of that conditioning, because it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. You're going to come across people that you're going to say something unbeknownst to you, right? Because when somebody else is, there's things that you don't say that you don't say that your spirit is going to convict you of. But when you have a group of people who are trying to convict people and sentence people, cancel people, aka murder people, right? They're trying to murder people, murder them slowly, sadistically, right? Because that's what narcissists do. They don't want you to just pay. They want you to pay painfully for what you've said and done. They want you to pay painfully, even though you have all the receipts in the world that say you don't deserve that they have to take responsibility for something. The narcissists don't take responsibility for anything, be they an individual or a race. They don't take responsibility. They're never going to. Right? That's their sense of entitlement, because they got a grandiose sense of self. I'm special. I'm chosen. You're not. I'm better than you. I've stolen your birthright. I've stolen your characteristics. I'm mirroring and mimicking you. And now I got to destroy you because I'm really jealous of you. Imagine that. And then put that in perspective in history. See, sometimes you can know too much. That's what I was always told when I was younger. You know too much. You're too smart for your own good. It's common sense. I'm not like a genius. I'm just common sense. I grew up in a mediocre country. So it's not that I'm a genius. It's just that common sense is not common where we live in the United States. It's frowned upon, which is why people with narcissism, psychopathy, sociopathy, borderline personality, schizophrenia, antisocial, histrionic, they can walk around and do whatever they want to do because they fit that mediocre, because they've created it for themselves. They've created a place where they're safe, where we have to struggle. We have to struggle to find safety or face isolation. Not all of us are introverts. Not all of us, are hermits. You see what I'm saying? So when you start getting clear, you start understanding, you got to start, when you clear away that stuff with you. Oh, thank you. I love it when you guys do this. This is awesome. I love that. Sent hands of heart. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. I'm glad that you understand. Yeah. And so when you start seeing clearly, it helps with the crazy making. It helps with the craziness. Because they certainly will try and make you crazy. That's the gaslighting. That's the giving you confusion and illusions, right? Their delusions become your reality, right? When you're around people with cluster B personalities for too long, they start to rub off on you, right? You're a fish swimming in a fishbowl full of shit. And you may try and go in the tank and go into that little rock mountain for some fresh air, fresh water, right? But you got to come back out into the shit. You got to come back out into the shit, Phoenixes. So why not be prepared, right? So I had to know what my conditioning was. And I was conditioned by violence, right? I was conditioned by violence, and that carried on because I'm stubborn, because I'm always going to speak the truth as I see it. My truth doesn't have to be your truth. There are universal laws, though, that none of us can evade or try and change, right? But when you're dealing with people with narcissism, and I realized basically that All my life, I've been around these narcissists, but I never knew what they were. I've been around these cluster B personalities, from my instructors in college to, teachers in grade school, to relationships that I've been in, right? To dealing with it from my own race, right? To my own culture. Been around them, never knowing what to call them. And taken the blunt, because the reason why we're the black sheep, the garbage can, and the scapegoat is because the narcissistic, covert narcissistic parent does not want to take responsibility for their actions. Does not. They're perfect. Right? So why are they going to take responsibility? Because they can't process that. And I mean, like, literally, they can't process that because they have a mind between a 2 and 7-year-old. My dad had a mind between a 2 and 7-year-old. My mom had a mind between a 2 and 7-year-old. Right? Everybody else was stupid. All she wanted to do was to eat, sleep, do drugs, and complain. Right? She didn't want to do anything else. She didn't even want to give me our history. She didn't even want to bond with me. Right? I didn't grow up with that nurturing mother, but I became a nurturer myself. I became a healer myself. Isn't that powerful? The black sheep, even I didn't grow up with this woman, but I was still the black sheep. You see, this is what I'm saying. You don't have to be around them because they will automatically be true to form. She pit me and the golden child. She's like, well, I don't know what's wrong with you. Your little sister, golden child, has a wife, has a job, has bought her property, has done this, but she's not the one in charge of breaking your generational curses. Now, is she? See, there's sometimes when you know yourself and you know your worth and you know your purpose, where you can get a family member or somebody who says something to you, right? And it just bounces off. Now, not necessarily do you have to say anything back to them. You use your intuition for that. Be obedient, right? If your Most High says, yeah, okay, go ahead and let him have it, but if not, just let him have it. But yeah, I didn't grow up with this woman. But because she was following a template, even though she was in a different, they're not all the same, but they are the same. Not all the same, but they are the same. They're not all the same in race, gender, socioeconomics, careers, focus, whatever, looks, priorities, but they do work from the same template. So I had just met this woman. Again, we went through different phases, right? And when my gang stalking started, for some reason, I met her. Now I find suspect. So then like 3 years later, about a year later, we talk again, right? And I'm talking to her. I'm trying to bond with her. And there's no bonding because she couldn't be present, okay? She couldn't be present because she hadn't dealt with her trauma. The only thing that she knew was how to dull, numb, kill herself off, basically. Crack, meth, alcohol, marijuana, sex, sexually confused. That's another, something that not talked about a lot is because, cluster B personalities want to keep themselves hidden, right? But many of them are sexually ambiguous, where it's kind of like, I'm an anything, and I remember when I first moved to this state that I had somebody tell me that there are most people here in where I live are, I'm a anything's good. You know what I mean? So you may have somebody who says that they're a lesbian, but they're married and you'll never know. Unless you happen to see them at a Walmart or something, you know what I mean? Like, so that was my mom. She was like, she was with a woman for 10 years, right? And then got with a man or something, you know what I mean? So, but it was, I wanted to know the history, but she couldn't be there. She couldn't bond with me. She didn't care about bonding. She cared what I could do for her. And since I couldn't do anything, so basically I was of no use to her because my sister had status, right? The golden child had status, but the golden child was also nurtured and conditioned. However, toxically, the golden child is now back being crazy because of the crap that she's done. You know, those of you who have been on my lives before will know that, you know, my mother passed away, was actually killed for insurance money. So somebody got the insurance money and it ticked everybody else off. So yeah. And she didn't want to undo her conditioning either. You know, there's sometimes where people just don't want to do the work, you know? And I wonder to myself, you know, because I've tried. Believe me, I've tried. And that's why I had to be made homeless. So I don't know what I'm born to do. I don't know. I know what I like to do, and that's shown up. I like to share my experience, strength, and hopes with other people. I like to tell stories that can change lives. You know, I have a production company, Blue Phoenix Rising Media LLC, and the slogan for us is, you know, creating healing through story. Phoenix is Rising Media, or Phoenix is Rising Academy, is reveal, heal, grow, and show. Because those are the 4 steps that I was taken through. So that's what I take you guys through. You said, was it hard? And you can't unsee it, noticing it immediately all the time. Useful but heavy. I love to see people raise up and take all the trauma to fuel other people's lives. Yes. Will be detached. Yeah, it took me years to understand exactly what you're talking about. So strange to hear it yet not comprehend. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, you know, so glad. Thank you so much, you guys. Sometimes it's dealing with the cognitive dissonance. I mean, that's basically what it is. It's you got to deal with the cognitive dissonance. It's like I've had to, it's layers of the onion. And I think it's never over with, you know, it's never over. Not until we transition, you know, out from this plane to the next. But it's never over, you know, like there's times like God just started revealing more things to me. Like, remember this situation? I'm like, oh my God, that was toxic, right? Because I'm emotionally able to handle it now. But there was a woman, I had a neighbor who didn't like my cat. She was 5150. She had cluster B personality. She went after him. She would not stop. She abused my cat, Mysterio. He came back. He found his way back to me. I couldn't take care of him because I didn't have the funds to heal him. This woman bashed his face. Not so he was unrecognizable, but she tortured him because she, being this narcissist, then not only that, so there was another lady who took care of him, and God let her know, because I was like, I just prayed for him. I was like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do because I didn't know how to process that. That here's this neighbor that's so batshit crazy and obsessed. So when he was gone, then she follows me to an organization that I would go to regularly. All of a sudden, she was there just to talk shit about me. Now, I never talked to this woman. This woman just wanted to create trauma. That's it. Batshit fucking crazy. You know? So that's what I'm saying. I wasn't dating this woman. Never went around her. I mean, I talked to her. She was my neighbor. Once she started flipping her shit, I was like, I'm done. I'm good. Right? So there are those of us who walk away. We don't like trauma. But God had to bring that up to me again because to share with you guys, maybe as an example, but to actually process. We're not dealing with sane people. They don't act like us. The first time you get a red flag, that's why I take you through these programs and go through the steps and learning about what they are. Because you're still thinking that you're dealing with a human because they look like you. They're creating synthetic humans right now who can have babies. You guys, it's not time to be naive anymore. You really got to grow up. You got to grow up. Because narcissists don't care. Psychopaths don't care. Sociopaths don't care. The borderline doesn't care. The histrionic doesn't care. So yes, it's shocking to realize that there is that amount and intensity of evil in these people. I don't remember where I shared it in this live or the last one I did before my Wi-Fi went out. But I had a woman who was smiling in my face saying how she supported me and understood what it was like to be homeless and lose everything, but was trying to kill me. And then on the other hand was trying to rape me and trying to convince me that we were soulmates. Like how do you process that? In bite sizes and pieces. Not all at once. Because it's going to be hard. Like your brain can't process that. Like my brain is having a hard time knowing that I have a person who's stalking me that has a husband, has 4 kids, other side pieces that she sleeps with, but she's still focused on me. And I've bluntly told her I'm not attracted to her. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's hard for me to fathom that somebody is literally trying to come into my life. This woman has tried to destroy my job, has tried to cause me physical pain, emotional pain, has done witchcraft on me, that I felt and seen because of the gifts that I have, clairaudient. I'm all the clairs. And then some, what my guides show me. So I've seen her doing ritual in the spiritual realm with my spiritual eyes. I've seen her doing binding spells, death spells, coffin spells, sugar spells, trying to literally graft herself in to my mind and switch roles. But this woman has a whole different life, right? But people wouldn't think. They'd look at her and be like, oh, okay, well, I don't see anything wrong here. Gabby Petito, nobody saw anything wrong with the asshole that ended up killing her. Seemed like a nice guy. Nobody saw anything wrong with the guy who killed the black woman and didn't tell their family because he had it in with the cops. That's why he seemed like a nice guy. You see what I mean? So you got to start advocating for yourself. The way that you advocate for yourself is by doing your own work. Is by having the courage to go deeper. By any means necessary, Phoenixes. You got artificial intelligence that's mimicking humans. You got humans that are in, a demon in a human sack, walking, looking like us, trying to imitate us. Come on. Come on. You're going to be a slave or you're going to be a master of your own life. And it's not about race. I don't want to be a slave spiritually to anybody, energetically to anybody. When I tell you that I've gone through hell and back over and over and over and over again because of who I am, that my life has been pushed back, whatever I was supposed to do has been pushed back by decades. I'm not exaggerating. When I say that just last night I got attacked. There are people out there that don't want to see you breathe. And they obsess. They obsess until they get what they want. And if you're just out here on autopilot, not thinking, not understanding, not listening to your cues, not listening to the intuition, not getting involved with the Most High or your guides or your ancestors. This is what I can't understand about people. It's like, oh, I'm a chosen one and I'm letting go. You're not, all that sage ain't doing shit. I know because I burn it quite often. It only does a layer of things. You got to do the work. You can't use sage. You can't burn a whole wand of sage just for it, in replacing of you actually going deeper and letting the Most High reveal to you what it is that you need to go deeper about. God damn it, it's scary, dude. It's scary. It's numbing at times. Because all of us, that's why a lot of us go to sugar. I quit smoking. I find now that I'm all into sweets that I never was before. And I don't like it. You know, I ate 12 cookies before going to work. Like I wouldn't do that. Right? So I know I got to rework it. I got to let myself understand it's like, okay, yes, you're not smoking. It's a hand to mouth. You want to feel that comfort. Basically what it is the cigarettes gave me comfort because I feel so intensely anyway. I was feeling and seeing things in the spiritual realm that were coming towards me that people were saying or doing and getting downloads from the Most High. I was already there. So the cigarettes helped me to buffer in a way. Right? Like I remember I was trying to wean myself off so I wouldn't smoke at work, right? Basically gone for 10 hours, travel time, gone for 10 hours. By the time I get there, I'm smoking. It hit me. All of a sudden, I felt a little bit of anxiety and then I was like, oh, man, I'm good. Good. Right? So I realized that that's what it was, right? So now I'm trying to find comfort without overdoing it. That's what I'm doing. Trying to find comfort without overdoing it. And you people in the comments, I'm not going to tell you again, don't come in here with your bullshit. Go to another video. Do not stay here. Do not stay here. This is the second one that I've been doing, and you guys come in with this fuckery, and I'm not here for it because you believe me, you do not want me. You do not want to be on my bad side, not at all. Like I said, I'm not that type of coach. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I'm not going to breastfeed you. You go with your antics somewhere else. You can still get paid if that's what's happening, but go in and do it somewhere else. Because if I get on your profile, you're in a world of hurt. Because I'm not playing. I'm not in for it today. I am very sensitive. It's been 2 months since I've had a smoke and, talking about it, and I'm being vulnerable and I deserve respect. So if you're not going to be here with respect, get on. Because I'm not going to fuck with you. Like I said, I'm not all these other coaches on here trying to make a name for myself. I got a purpose and something to do. And what hurts me the most in my heart is when people F around all the time. I've watched people die, you guys, because they didn't have the knowledge because they were too afraid to exert themselves and be themselves and live from their authentic self. So I don't care about what you think about my looks. I don't care about what you think about what I'm talking about. I don't care. Take it somewhere else. Don't play with me. I've been through too much to be here. You go play games with somebody else. You don't like it? Get on. Because you're going to be the ones that are sitting there twiddly-dee, twiddly-dum, not having prepared for anything when you can't get into your bank account, not having prepared for anything when you don't have any lights, don't have any food, don't have any water, but you're looking for a handout. It's all right if you don't like what I'm talking about. It's all right if you don't want to respect me. That's fine, but you won't stay on this video. Like I said, people are dying out here, dude. I'm not going to sit here and play with you guys. You want to play in sandboxes? Go play in sandboxes. You want to die of ignorance? Go die of ignorance. Hey, Queen Esther, I was thinking about you. I saw you on IG. Saw your picture. It came up. I was like, oh, I wonder what she's doing. Yeah, because this is serious for me. Because I almost died out there. I was ready to take my own life being homeless. Not having any family. I've given you guys a piece of what I've gone through. A fragment of what I've gone through. Hey, Virgo Earth. Okay, now my folks is coming in. So this is not a game for me. I don't get paid for this. Like I said, I'm not all these other ones who want to dress up and put makeup on and stuff like that. You're going to see me how you see me when you see me. If you scheduled a session for me, you'll see me. I'll be on time. If you've bought a program and we're doing the program, I'll be there. Well, I'll be on time. No one left behind. But start taking your life seriously. Because it goes away so quick. You know, it goes away so quick. This ain't something to fucking play with and asking stupid ass questions. Don't play. If you don't want to be on this video, go somewhere else. Go to somewhere else where somebody has a filter, makeup filter on, where somebody's shucking and jiving, got a whole bunch of lipstick and makeup on, is dressed to the nines to impress you. That's not me. I don't need to impress you. I've been through the hell. I've been through the valley. I fought the demons that I needed to fight. What about you? What about you? I've had babies die who were targeted just to make me break and give up. And I couldn't give them a proper burial. Couldn't go to my mom's funeral and then having siblings lie to me to actually how she died. So what I'm talking about, and I'm still here because I'm being obedient to the Most High to change my legacy from that of poverty to plenty. Leaving something, changing generational curses to blessings. Y'all out here want to play. Go somewhere where people are dolled up. Go somewhere where they'll talk that talk, and so you'll think that they're professional when they're not. When behind closed doors, they're sex trafficking or paying for shit that they have no business paying for. Go ahead for it. But don't stop here. You said you're a first responder, Miss Smith? Yeah, out of the fog. Parlor armchair. Y'all in these names, man. Yeah, no, I was talking to it because it's been the second video, and I'm sorry, you guys, I lost it. Because I don't play. I don't play about spiritual things. I don't play about healing. Because I really do care. You know? I really do care. I could go doll myself up. You know, Jesus. So, fuck. But I do care. I do care, you know, because I've seen people out there, man, just withering away, passing away. You know, and it's hard. It's hard. You said I saw it all the time on the streets, and that was just the hardest, especially the young kids, the teenagers, you know, the trans women, especially, you know, of color, the Puerto Ricans, the blacks. You know, they're out there having to sell themselves. And then, you know, because the city doesn't have anything. The city has places where you can go sell, you can go get a needle and you can strap your titties down, but you can't get some housing because they want that housing for only white gays and lesbians. You know what I'm saying? Leon Walker Jr., beware of this narcissist coach. Okay. Yeah, love you guys too. You know, I'm not out here. I guess too, it's just been stressful because, you know, you see people fall, man. You see people fall. Thank you, D-Rock. You know, I'm not out here. Of course I want to prosper, but I'm not chasing money, right? I want you guys to get that blessing and that glory. I want you guys to know God for yourselves. With not with me, you know what I'm saying? But if you've been told, if I go take you through a program and okay, yeah, this has been revealed, that's been revealed. Okay, let's change this. So how do I do it? I'm that guide. I didn't get into life coaching or narc coaching, right? I was going to be a filmmaker. right? That's what I had planned to do. Scriptwriter, filmmaker, meet Spike Lee, meet Rosario Dawson, that's what I had planned. That's what I was working towards. Have a candle business, right? Have a t-shirt business, anything. I'm a natural entrepreneur, but it's like, I'd had no intentions of coming here and sharing with you guys my pain. Not at all. But it's about me being obedient. And on the streets, I learned to do that. I learned to be obedient. I learned, and the way you're obedient is the clearing away so that you can hear. Right? You can hear. Get to the point where I'm no longer mistrusting my intuition. I will stop everything. I don't care whether it's a job. I don't care whether I'm walking down the street. I will start shopping in the grocery aisle because I've been known to do it. And my gang stalkers can tell you, my stalkers can tell you, I've been known to do it. I will stop right in the middle until I figure out what is going, until I get a download or until something becomes clear. I don't know when I said this, but I said it somewhere on a video that I had a lump sum of money. I didn't touch that. That stayed in the bank until I was time to go. And I got sabotaged, unfortunately, because I was moving money. But that stayed in the bank. I don't touch it until God tells me what to do with it. See, I'm a simple person. As long as I got food, water, and a safe place, I'm good. And my fur babes, I'm good. Some anime, throw some anime in there. I'm good. I live simply. I'm not trying. And that's the hardest thing, because most of us empaths, earth angels, chosen ones, we're simple. Right? Not simple-minded, because we're powerful in here. But really, I don't want a whole bunch. I never have. That's why my God talk, I have God talks. If you guys haven't had a God talk is just talking to God about shit that's really going on with you. Epitome of empath. I feel your hurt for humanity. Yeah, and that is exactly what it is, Virgo Earth. That's exactly what it is. That's why I didn't want to quit smoking. But again, I got to be obedient. Because I don't want to feel all this danger. Yeah, so, yeah. So that's why I said, I'm here for you guys. Come to Eastern Shore. Like I said, I'm saving up money. I'm doing the best I can. Y'all start telling people about my programs and mini courses so that I can, save up enough. I got a Cash App too. If y'all want to donate any blessings, go to my profile and hit my link tree. That's where everything is. Yeah, it's intense, it's intense. As I said, this is not for the weary, and I'm a very sensitive person, but I'm so tired of people dying and struggling. I know, baby. I know. That's why I said I'm not chasing money, but I want people to get it. I want people to get it. Yeah, see, like this asshole here. As I said, that's what set me off. It wasn't anything that anybody else said. It's these guys. Oh, baby, I hope you feel better. Are you going through a sickness? No, don't give up. Like I said, go into prayer and meditation. Sometimes when we get quiet and we just let go, we'll get the answers. But we got to tap out of what we're expecting. How we got to tap out of what we're expecting, how we expect things to go. We expect things to see. How we see things going through for us. You got to tap out of that. And that's what I realized. That's what God told me a couple weeks ago, was to tap out, get out of the box. Because the way that I may have to move out of this toxic cluster B principality city may not be the way that I want to. May not be the way that I want to. Yeah, I think being in the military is real hard. My narcissistic dad, he was a Marine. California. He was a Marine, and he was always talking about, you should go into the military. It's like, but I don't believe, I can't, it wouldn't help me. It wouldn't help anybody. Military was the wrong place for me. They'd never find me. I know that we'll be on the East Coast. I just don't know where. I mean, like when I say that, this is why I say get on your stuff, because get on your spiritual journey, whether it's with me or whether you're doing it with yourself and just a support system, and a therapist, actual, somebody who's a licensed therapist. I'm just a life coach, right? Which is good, but I don't have, sometimes I can't go deeper, right? I can share with you my experience and I can share with you, what I've been trained in, but it's cold at night now in California. I'm from Georgia. Yeah, I don't know. All I want is my home. I'm so ready to meet my soul tribe. I'm so ready to be in my soul country. I'm thinking about, like, I don't even know how to do passports. You know what I mean? Like that's where God actually had me. It's like, okay, get your passport, and everything was sabotaged. That's why I said sometimes you can't do, you can only go so far, right? But don't think that just because you're tired and you're exhausted and things aren't going as they should have gone because you're being sabotaged or whatever. And this is what God told me, because I was mad, because it's like last year we should have been over in the East Coast already. I should be in my hotel, or not my hotel. I'm in the hotel now, but I should be in my new home, with my studio room and broadcasting from you to you guys there. But that got sabotaged. You know what I'm saying? So, and the only thing that made me feel better was that, God said it wasn't you. You were actually sabotaged. So I'm like, okay, because I was like paranoid. Did we lose connection? Because the worst thing for me is to lose a connection with the Most High. That's the worst thing. Right? And that's the worst thing, because you already have people who, these creatures, these cluster B personalities. When notice when you're in a relationship with them, you're doing all the prayer and meditation, right? And that suffices, but they're draining and draining and draining. But you know how you get so exhausted and you stop doing prayer and meditation? Or you get weary of doing prayer and meditation because these fuckers won't go away, because they're in their incessant need to feed. Oh, okay. I don't know where Montgomery County is. Yeah, I'm still praying about it. I believe that something's getting ready to come in the next 6 months, so that's why next to Washington, D.C. Okay. I don't know if I want to be all the way up in there. Y'all be flooding and hurricanes and tornadoes and all that stuff, man. I don't know, because, I live in the county. Girl, you talking to me like I know what that is. I don't know county from country over there. So I don't know what y'all be doing. Like, and that's my thing too. I said, see, when you clean up, right? You clean up and you're living from your authentic self. Because I wrote down, make it, write it on paper and make it plain, right? And I wrote down, I said, I want a new home, our own home. I want to know what it's like to buy a house. I want to know what it's like to build. I would like a container house. Or container, like I'm tiny home-ish, but I want a big studio. I want to be able to do green screen commercials, product things, shoot there, live, do my interviews, right? I want to have my studio. That's the only thing. The business is what I'm concerned about. And the fur babes, they've been locked up and, because we've been held hostage. Even though I can go to and from work, it's still, I have to live like I'm, a domestic violence survivor, on the run. And I don't like that, because I've come from so far, right? But this is what I'm saying. When people don't want to, not Atlanta, Augusta, come to the A, not Atlanta, Augusta. Manifest your, yeah, I love tiny houses. Yeah. And so what I did is I wrote everything down, and for a time being, everything came, was coming through to fruition, where God would be like, okay, now go get this. Now go get that. Go get this. Now go get this. Copywriting, doing all that stuff, and trademarking, was just told to do something else again today. So, you know what I mean? But there are people, like I said, when you're dealing with people who are mentally disturbed and demon possessed, they will obsess because they have not succeeded with that contract that they made to make sure that they can continue to traumatize people without any punishment, right? So I'm still alive, and that's why it's just so, because there are people out here. There was a lady who committed, the beautiful lady who in her 30s, Miss America, and they were saying, oh, she committed suicide. When I saw her, I said, and this is just me, because the spirit was speaking to us, like, no, somebody got into her mind and caused her to do that. because her last tweet was, I hope this brings you peace. You know? So, yeah, I live in Montgomery County, a block from Washington, D.C. Plenty of housing. LGBT have rights here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I believe, like I said, I've been dealing with witchcraft, which is like mind numbing, because you have people who work on this 24/7 and realize that, especially like you got cluster B personalities, like they compartmentalize relationships. So you don't know about the other person that they're sleeping with and have a whole nother family with, and that person doesn't know about you, and both of you don't know about the other one, right? They can do that. So when they can still be in character while with somebody else and still ghosting you, which if you guys have ever seen Ghost with Patrick, you ever seen Ghost, they'll hover. He hoovered over. That's hoovering. That's an example of hoovering. Now imagine somebody who's able to fragment their spirit, piece of themselves, still be in character. They fragmented themselves so they can go and chase after you because they got to put you under watch. Come on now, guys. Come on now, guys. And there was a TikToker on here who said, yes, you can be ghosted. Patrick Swayze in Ghost, you can be ghosted by somebody who's still alive. So he was saying, like I'm saying, you can have people who are stalking you in character, but they're stalking you in the spirit. And you may feel a presence and just blow it off, you know, as, oh, the place is haunted. You know? I think it's happening to me. Yeah, I mean, because I feel it all the time, and I can see into the spirit realm. I was thinking about yesterday. Yeah, I do, and they go away. But what I'm talking about this is somebody who has literally lost their mind, right? So because I can feel that energy, and the person has been with me for over 5 years, like stalking me, like literally, because I've lived with her, and she's, oh gosh, I'm, we're soulmates and da da da. She didn't get to finish the grooming. Basically, she thought that she was going to convince me to let her control me or whatever. I don't know. But she's also into sex trafficking. She's a North Daniels, Northerner as they call themselves here. And she's into a lot of nasty, perverted shit that she shouldn't be, but she is. And she's used to getting her way through the gang ties. Okay? Because like I said, California is run by the Mexicans. It's not run by any governmental official. It's not. It never has been. So, and they run it insidiously, and they run it quietly, and they run it brutally, But I'm like I said, I'm a suicide bomber where I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care what set you claim. I don't care. I had people who put hits out on me while I was on the streets. The whole parking lot cleared out because they wanted to scare me. And I slept like a baby because I had my angels over me. I do my prayer. See, that's the benefits of doing prayer, fasting, and meditation. I mean, it's like, and unfortunately now though, it's like everything is a life or death situation for me, just to be transparent. So I have to heal from that. Right? Because when you're constantly under attack, it takes away from you a bit, when you're constantly under attack. Right? You said your story is similar to mine. Yeah, when you're constantly under attack and you know that your life was supposed to be different last year, as I've said, I think I mentioned it in another video. So like, you guys haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel because I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. So please, there's 1,000.7 likes here. So I know if you guys wanted to, you guys could go over to YouTube, and that's my podcast channel and my rambling channel. And it's where I'm reading books. Right now we're on the Wise Lesbian's Guide to to crazy making relationships and breaking free and enjoying your life, right? So basically, in this, Amber Alt PhD is the author's name, and it's an absolute blessing. So cool. You're a warrior for the Most High. God got you. Yeah. And it's, and I know that God got me. And it's one of those things where, it's focusing. It's focusing on Phoenix's Rising. It's focusing on creating mini programs and full programs and just getting you guys to know that, hey, you're not the only ones going through this. Right? It's about being obedient. There's not all the time where I want to go live, but God says, keep going live. Okay. So I go back on, like I would never go twice in a row, because honestly, it's really hard for an introvert to, like myself, to, try and to be like this, because I do have to be vulnerable. And I am taking butts, where people, hits, and that's part of the game. I understand. I knew a little bit. But right now I'm feeling so sensitive, that I'm just like, I don't care. I'm not going to hold back. And, I can't be everything to everybody. I don't want to be everything to everybody. I want to be everything for me. Right. And in loving myself, I'm loving you, because then I can sympathize with you and your pain, right? That's why I said I'm not that kind of life coach. I'm a different kind, where I have gone through the trenches. I have seen things in the spirit realm and in the real and in the 3D realm that nobody would fucking think was possible. Like I said, if you want somebody with makeup who's already pre-dolled up and has good lighting and all that kind of stuff right now, then go for it. Go for it. But if you want somebody who lives from authenticity and has the battle scars and has lived to prove with all the assassination attempts in the spiritual realm and in the physical realm that you can make it, then holla at me. Holla at me. Other than that, I don't do fake. Like I said, I don't chase money. I chase purpose. Right? But I know my purpose. My goal is to get you guys to know your purpose. Is to create the Phoenix Rising Academy community where we're supporting each other, right? Tight-knit community where we're supporting each other, because too many of us have been called crazy or told that we were lying when traumatic shit happened to us, or when we said that this narcissist or this psychopath or this, borderline personality was doing these things to us, and to where we've started to feel crazy ourselves that we had to start either recording on a tape recorder or recording with a hidden camera, just to prove that, yes, this is happening. People who have been targeted individuals, been gang stalked for 15, 20 years, like it's overkill to stalk somebody, for a community of people to stalk somebody. You said, I feel what you're discussing happening to me at the moment. Creole baby, Slim, it's absolutely senseless when people are stalking other people because they're getting paid for it and because it seems fun. And that's one thing, you got to prioritize yourself now. You're not an elephant with the shackle still on your feet, but the chain has been busted. You're not connected to anything anymore. You can raise up that little girl, that little boy, again, the way that it was supposed to be raised up. The way that you should have been. You can rewrite your story by undoing toxic conditioning. And I got February 10th next week at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, $25 3-day workshop on learning how to undo toxic conditioning. So that's one of so I'm just going to start doing mini courses for right now. So if you guys want to get on it, let me know, and you can get to it. Just go look at everything, and please, if you guys have any questions or feedback, just constructive feedback, right? I would very much love to hear from you guys. So don't think that you can't DM me or get a hold of me or email me if you want. Okay. And please get on the mailing list. So that way, when I do launch the 8-week course, the bigger courses, and even do interviews from authors and podcasts or special guest speakers, you'll know about it. Now, I'm not going to spam you with everything with it. I'm not that kind of person. I'm like, I'll put it in a group, a bunch, and I'll be like, okay, here's what's coming on this time, this time, this time, and this time. So you may get 3 emails from me a month, just to remind you this is what's coming, just in case. Cause I know I sometimes get tired or forget and I delete stuff. So just, but I won't overdo it. And the people that I do, cause a coach has a coach. I have coaches and, I'm subscribed to their mailing list and they don't spam me like that. You know what I mean? They're not always, oh, hey, look at this, So, yeah. But yeah. So I know it's been hard. A lot of people, I believe, are sensitive. A lot of people are going through stuff, dude. I understand. And sometimes it's hard to have that faith and to have that belief that everything's going to be okay when all you've seen is nothing but trauma and drama. All you've seen is people losing their houses, losing their lives, losing their loved ones, not knowing where to go, right? The government's not helping or the government is helping. That's what I was going to say too before I got off. Hold on. Wait, just a minute. Sorry, guys. Get some water real quick. Okay. Sorry, forgot I hadn't taken a drink of water. So, yeah. Go check my link in profile, and please, if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. Feel free. All right, guys. Well, I think I am going to go on my patrol. Again, just to let you guys know, February, which is February 10th, which is next week at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so Los Angeles Standard Time. I will be hosting a workshop for $25, undoing toxic conditioning for 3 days, Zoom call. You go to my link, you go down to programs of Phoenix Rising Academy programs, services offered. You go to that, pay for it. Go look at one of my videos I just posted not too long ago that shows you the website and what you're looking for. It's highlighted in a circle animation. But you go to that link and that'll take you, it's the bottom one. It says undoing toxic conditioning or undoing conditioning. And that's the 25. Once you pay for the 3-day workshop, you'll get the link and the password and make sure you're there. I'll be hosting it. I'll be going through it with you guys, doing a presentation, and probably the third day will just be getting you. I mean, want you guys' feedback and make sure that you guys can relate and understand the material that I'm presenting to you. But also, I think the third day is kind of just seeing where you guys' heads at and what you guys would like to really focus on. What are you guys actually dealing with? And all of that. So, again, thank you guys so much for your support, and your blessings are truly in your ashes, Phoenixes. Rise. Have a good night.